Tokyo ESP is a supernatural action series based on a manga by Hajime Sagawa, who also wrote Garei:0. The ESP anime, however, was produced by Xebec, known for their work on Love Hina, DN Angel, and Shaman King. A bit of varied works there from over 10 years ago. They haven't really had many breakout hits since about 2009, although this year they've also been producing Argavolen. Although, is anyone watching Argavolen? Anyone at all? But without further ado, I present the anime review of Tokyo ESP. Tokyo ESP is pretty much X-Men. No, really, it's about a group of good espers fighting against a group of bad espers who fight against humanity. They've all got their own unique powers that they use in order to protect Tokyo from this terrorist threat. Come on, they even flew a ship through Tokyo, just like Magneto flew the Golden Gate Bridge in X-Men 3. Case closed. Anyways, if you're one of the people who dropped Tokyo ESP at episode 1, you're going to be very confused watching this review. Episode 1 was not indicative of the series ahead at all. The explosive action featured in that episode is not something consistent. It actually takes place at the end of the series, with episode 2 being the beginning, and we follow the protagonist Rinka as she and various other people discover their ESP. It's these interactions and character building that made the show for me and regained my attention beyond the fighting without context that we saw initially. We follow these characters as they build up their team of heroes, train up their unique powers, and finally try to defeat the espers threatening humanity. The series takes into account ideas of racism, discrimination, as it shows society fighting against what they don't understand, and eventually striking back against all of the espers, not just the ones involved in terrorist acts. Leading these terrorists and creating this chaos is our antagonist, Magneto. I mean Hokusai Azuma. Okay, yes, this is literally X-Men the anime. The themes are the same, the message is the same, the way powers work are the same, even some of the scenes are the same. This isn't even critique anymore, I just find it absolutely hilarious. Thankfully, the way that part of the show is dealt with was done well to an extent. We do get to see some of the reactions of the emergent Esper presence, and a few significant character interactions, although I definitely feel they could have done a lot more with it. But that's a small issue when you look at that absolutely dreadful situation between a few of the characters. In the second half of the series, Tokyo ESP suddenly realises that their antagonist is neither dislikable nor understandable, so we are treated with backstory scenes and random pointless acts of terrorism that don't even relate to his goals, just to make him dislikable enough for us to want him dead. It all just contributes to a massive dip in quality in episodes 8, 9 and 10. It just loses everything that made the show entertaining. There's a recovery for the finale, but it just gets to a point that it becomes shockingly dull and off-putting. I'd like to say that I love the entire cast here, but I really didn't. They're characters of first impressions, and that's about it. For example, primary character Kyotaro Azuma is revealed as a relentless hero of justice, and he has a very inspiring personality about him. He's the one who brings our protagonist Rinka into the world of heroism, and he was an enjoyable character as he was. But later in the series, when his past is revealed and he gets kidnapped, having to watch him converse with his adopted sister is one of the most boring things I've seen in a long time, and his personality dies along with the show. The most exciting parts here in this entire series were just the scenes in episode 1 with this elite team fighting the terrorist espers, but they don't appear outside of that episode at all. But, well, let's get profiling. Rinka is a teenage Esper with the power to slip through solid objects, and is the protagonist of the show. She's hard-headed, foolish, and charges into situations without thinking, making her a really fun character to watch. She's not going to hold back, she's not going to make us wait, she's going to slam a sidekick into the bad guys and it unfolds from there. But she gets shafted later on as we start switching perspectives to far less entertaining characters and we lose this appeal. Peggy may or may not be the saviour of anime. Actually, scratch that, he definitely is, being an absolutely fantastic character, not only due to the fact that he's a penguin, because he can also fly. Oh, and he has a power to erase people's ESPs, but more importantly, he can fly. A penguin flying. You seen that before? Even Pingu didn't manage that, and he's a fucking genius. Peggy is voiced by Kaoru Mizuhara, who also voiced Yomi in Gurai Zero, and the talent shows with excellently executed lines such as this. Amazing. When it comes to how this show looks, it's not pretty. From the very start, there's issues with every background pedestrian being rendered in 3D to save costs, making some shots seem very unnatural. The animation is often stiff, the line art is dodgy, the music outside of one track from the first episode and the opening is dull, and it's just incredibly unappealing visually. It tries to make up for this with some interesting art design, and it works somewhat, but only when it comes to some of the ESP powers. I can see that there's been effort put into this, and it seems like Xebec really wanted to create something visually entertaining here, but I don't think they had the budget to accomplish this. It's a light applause situation. They get the "you tried" sticker, I guess. It is really disappointing though, as with all of these powers and everything going on, this could have been a stunning show to watch. There are interesting action scenes, amazing, impactful moments, and there's nothing to support it. But well, at least Peggy looks cool. That makes up for it alright. Right guys? But with everything in mind, I have meticulously calculated values for the categories of story, characters, animation, sound, and my own personal enjoyment, which after gaining the powers of ESP and saving the world from Magneto, has me awarding Tokyo ESP with an overall score of Peggy out of 10, and a recommendation to Peggy it. Tokyo ESP is available on Peggy Lab, and if you click on the link in the description, peggylab.net/PeggyIsOurGod, you can sign up to a free trial of the Church of Peggy's premium services. And if you feel like purchasing Tokyo ESP, it has been licensed in Peggyman in Antarctica. For alternate anime recommendations, I point you towards Mawaru Penguin Drum, because it has penguins, and Neon Genesis Evangelion, for exactly the same reason. I am never doing that ever again. Okay, for reals. Tokyo ESP isn't great and it isn't terrible. There's a lot to enjoy here, and it's obvious that they have a place they want to go with it, with a very clear allusion to a second season. Whether it'll get one or not, however, is unconfirmed. I recommend Tokyo ESP to Supernatural fans. No, not the American drama, the genre. If you're looking for lots of superpowers and the implications of that, you are going to get it here. It's not as well done as X-Men and Hamatora before it have done, but it's a new story onto the table, and that holds value by itself. However, I wouldn't recommend this show to those looking for any form of consistency. The animation is inconsistent, the story is inconsistent, even some of the characters are inconsistent. It ends up being somewhat of a mess. There's value here, but it's definitely not any sort of value that most people will see up front. Give it a shot, go for 3 or 4 episodes. If you're hooked, continue and finish it without looking back. But if you're already not enjoying it by that point, you don't have a chance. Tokyo ESP is available to stream legally on Funimation, Anime Lab, and on Crunchyroll from some regions. Thank you for watching the Caniper Effect. More videos on their way.